Ladies and gentlemen, Tom Ginn, we are live. Elevate Your Profits and
Mark Nassert, Peachtree Corners, Georgia.
All right, and we have a special guest tonight. So tonight we're going to be doing something a little different. But Mark, why don't we start out sharing with our audience a little bit of what Elevate Your Profit is, and then we'll roll out our intro, and then we'll get into our topic tonight: authenticity. What does it mean for business? And
Right.
I think we'll just have an open conversation on that. We encourage anybody out there that's watching this, put something in the comments. We would like to have you comment on your points of view as well. So with that all said, Mark, it's all yours, my friend.
Oh, okay. Be connected, man. Be connected. Every time I think about that, like here we are using this platform, but we're talking about elevate your profits. What does it mean to be a follower of EYP? I kind of like that acronym, man. It's cool. But for me, it's not just about money. Although we talk about it, I kiddingly say this, and it's a good thing to talk about that because I think everybody out there has a duty, obligation, responsibility. I stole that from Grant Cardone, and that's true, to be successful in your own way, to find out what you're looking for. And we've had people right here on Elevate Your Profits. They've been authored. They've got purposes. They've got causes. And we've had people in the medical profession on here. We've had people, in the credit card industry on here sharing a whole bunch of plethora information about finance. You talk about finance, we've had just about every person you could think about when it comes down to how to create wealth, make money, how to save money, how to take care of yourself. And then on top of that, we've got other people out there that they do have a cause and a purpose and a reason, and we had them on here. And to me, when you talk about elevate your profits, it's really, we are constantly learning from you. And I'll put this out there. I've done it before, my Peachtree Corners Business Association. I challenge you, come on board, and I will, and Tom will allow you to come on here and talk about your business, your cause, whatever it is out there. And, as long as it's not crazy, and we would love to have you talk about you and what it is you do, how you elevate your profits from within out there into the real world. And that's what it's all about, Tom.
Wonderful. Great job, my friend. Yeah, tonight, authenticity. What does that really mean? I think when you mentioned me what we want to talk about tonight, the buzzword, what does that really mean? And being transparent and authentic. I'm going to refer to a couple things that really nails the point. Is Larry Levine, his book Selling from the Heart. We've interviewed him twice already, and he talks about being authentic. And so we're just going to banter back and forth today, respond to any comments.
Right.
There we go. A great little book. And
yeah, I've read it. Now I'm studying it. Yeah. And you mentioned Larry's a great guy. I'm a member of their insiders group. On Fridays we meet. It's kind of like a mastermind type. And it's really cool to get people's different perspectives on, and since we're talking about being authentic and authenticity, I was ranting a little bit, and Miss Kathy said, go ahead, Mark, you can start it off. I think people always have been authentic, Tom. I really do. I think more so going back, and you can go back 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Somehow I think we got away from it. This to me is nothing new, but Larry does a great job in his book explaining things. And it's asking yourself, who am I? I remember one time I did this on a sheet of paper. I never thought I'd do this. I said, who am I? And I put down, I'm Betty and Wayne's son. I'm Rita's brother. I'm Dennis's brother. I started doing all this crazy stuff, like not what I do, but really who am I and how do I resonate out there in the world? How do people see me? We all do different things. Like yesterday, I told you I umpired games. And I got to tell you, when you get to the championship game 6, it gets pretty intense. And then you really find out who you are more so, you find out who the other people are out there. And if you want to talk about authenticity, do 3 games back to back to back behind the plate, and you'll get to find out about you and them out there and where you fit in the great scheme of things. And I think when you talk about authenticity, to me, it's just be yourself. Don't try and be something you're not. I can't. Larry wrote this book, and he made a great point. I could never be like him or Jeffrey Gitomer, or he's written numerous books, or our good friend BFG3, Benjamin Franklin Gay the third, Ben Gay. We can't be like that. I can't be like Kathy. I can't be like you. And I think when you break it down, just be yourself out there. And I think when you do that and you find out who you are, that's going to resonate with other people, because I'm on the phone a lot, and I just had our meeting, and we talked about that indirectly. What do you want to happen during this call? I know Larry talks about it, and how are you going to approach it? And are you going to be transformational or transactional? What are you after? And people, I feel, can see that, and it resonates with them. Even if they can't see you face to face, they can hear it in your voice, your approach. I always talk about approach because, before we begin games, we always have a plate, and that's our glitch here. But anyway,
I got trigger happy.
I know. And that's be connected. Yeah. And you got to be real to use be connected. But I'm just saying, that's the way I see it. And I will say this, and Kathy knows, because I was ranting a little bit, and I am again. I just feel like the greatest generation has totally, in my eyes, that's my parents way back in the day. Sometimes they get overlooked. And to me, I think they emulate greatness because of what they had to do, what they went through. I know what my dad went through. I know what my mom went through. My dad wasn't around. He was in the military. And, he came from a family of 9. And we got one of them that's left. And his first name is John, my uncle, and he has cancer. And, we're all going to be called in another form or fashion. As I say, we're not indestructible, and I hope he has a smooth transition to that next phase of his life when he leaves the planet and things are in order. I've talked to my brother about that, and I just think that you want to talk about being authentic, talk to older people, or go in a VA hospital and see some of these people that are in there, or wounded warriors. How more authentic do you want to get? Those guys, man, those men and women put it on the line, and there are all sorts of heroes out there every day that I have a lot of respect for. But excuse my rant, but that's where I'm coming from with that question.
Wonderful. Before we get going, we're going to do something that Benjamin Gay the third suggests we do. Promote our business opportunities more frequently. So tonight we're going to play a little video. This platform that we're using is called Be Connected. It's a 5-in-1 platform. It allows you to do what we're doing here, video conferencing, live streaming at the same time. Our free version, it allows you to do some things that no other platform allows you to do, with live links that show up in the presentation of this. So, but tonight, after we play our little rollout video, we'll come back and then we'll introduce Kathy and bring her into the conversation and start sharing our thoughts about authenticity, what it really means in the scope of business. I think scope of business is, and I would incorporate life as well, because that's part of the whole picture. We want to make sure that people recognize who we are from a place of integrity and those type of things. So without any further ado, I'm going to do a quick little video here, and then we'll be back and introduce Kathy. I can get carried away, let it do its loop over and over again.
It's good music.
That's be connected. It's a revolutionary disruptor in video conferencing, live streaming. The greatest feature, besides what it's doing in the technical side, is the business community that it's created. It's a social business platform, not a social media platform. Two distinct different things. So we'd be glad to
Right.
talk about that. If you want to find out more about this platform, it has 3 ways to get started: free, $19.95, and $49.95. And if 2 other people you refer to, you can become members of the platform on the paid side.
Mm-hmm.
Your monthly drops to $24.95.
Look
You
at
can't
that.
even get close to any other social media platform or conferencing platform for $19 to $49, especially when you see what this platform can really do. We're saving businesses and organizations thousands of dollars, those that are doing webinars, that type of thing. So we can run those. Give us a shot, and we'd be glad to answer those questions. But, Mark, we talked this morning. We were trying to line up a guest, but he's not available today.
He will be. He will be.
Yes.
He shall return.
Yeah.
Jay,
So,
if you're listening, we're looking forward to having you.
Yeah. So hope you're doing well, Jay, and we look forward to talk with you in the future here. But I got your email. We talked about what we're going to do for this evening, and I said, Mark, give us a topic. You emailed me a little while ago. I read the topic, and I says, there's no better person to bring into this conversation than Kathy Ginn, which is my wife. She's probably the most authentic person I've ever met.
Right.
It definitely shows up in her success in business and the things she does in and around all the things she does. So I said, in the last minute, I says, join us tonight on this topic. So Kathy, are you ready to rock and roll? We're talking about authenticity. What does it really mean in business? What would your perspective be on that comment?
Yeah. Hi, Mark. And
Hey,
hi, Tom.
how you doing?
And hello, everybody.
I have to compliment your husband. These are like the coolest colors. And if you see in my background on my left, which would probably be your right, there's a gentleman by the name of Miles Davis. And the other guy is Dexter Gordon. These are jazz giants. And if they were alive today, they would say, Tom, it takes a long time to play like you. But you know what? That's kind of you. I like that new look. You're stepping out. Get out of the zone, man. It's good. I like it.
Good colors, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, it's very creative. It's colorful.
Yeah.
There's that word, and then I'll let Kathy go.
Sure.
It's authentic. See, you're being authentic. This really is you. Deep down, this is you, man.
I love the colors too. Good job, Tom. Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, Kathy, share with us, please.
Yeah.
I'd like to get your input because you're in business, and you remind me of the aunts I used to have, the sage wisdom that you can bestow upon us, and because you've been through a lot of ups and downs in your business, but no one ever has any problems with their business, do they, Kathy?
Yeah, right. They haven't. Well, that's another program, right?
Yeah.
That's another program. So, yeah, Tom asked me about 10 minutes ago, actually, to talk about authenticity. And at first, to be honest, I resisted. I'm like, give me some time, give me an hour, couple, so I can really reflect on this word, authenticity. But I went and combed my hair and put a little lipstick on, and I thought, I think I can do this thing. So here I am. And as I thought about it, and I'm going to just share a couple words, and then you both said about the scope, authenticity in the scope of business. And I'll talk about that a little bit in the context of what I do in my profession. But the first thing that came to me when I thought about authenticity, and Tom asked me to speak a little bit, first thing that came to me, 2 words: know thyself. You know, know thyself, be true to yourself. And I thought, well, be true to myself. How do I be true to myself if I don't know myself? So kind of, to me, for lack of better words at this moment, the journey starts there. The inquiry can start there, I suppose. At least it did for me. Be true to myself. Well, who am I? As you said, Mark, earlier, who am I?
Right.
We all have our different answers, and mine is the foundation of spirituality. I'm spirit to me in this human body. I'm not a human just hanging out on this earth. And so when I think of authenticity, those are my roots. I love nature. And so when I, question things, I always go to nature and say, what does nature have to teach me about authenticity? I mean, nature is so authentic, you can't imagine anything else, right?
Right.
Nature is so authentic. It just is, right?
It's smarter than
And
people, because
yes,
nature gives and it takes.
yeah,
And
exactly.
we all got to learn, we're going to win, but we got to learn to lose. We're going to lose loved ones. It's going to happen. It's all part of that process. And I think, you're spot on when you're talking about authenticity in nature. I mean,
Nature. Yeah.
May I make a comment
Yes.
as well? And the reason I want to make this comment is Kathy's very successful in her massage practice, and people seek her out, and it's through the energy that she leaves with other people, because what she does is the principles that she's incorporated herself. She understands Maslow, and when she deals with people, she's making sure that she sees them, she hears them, and she lets them know they care. So that's authentic. I think putting the other person first makes you more authentic. Then you can, being authentic doesn't mean you open the closet door of all the things that you may not want to share with the world, but it's just being present with people, being honest with people, creating a place of safety and a place of trust. I've watched Kathy's business grow on the massage side, and her clients book regularly. And she would probably agree with the statement I said. It's not about her technique so much, because there's a lot of people that are great with technique, but they can't get that relationship going to create a business relationship long term. So, Kath, would you like to make some comment on that? Because I've seen it work for you. It's not, like you said, the academia of the body and the functionality and the science of the body and stuff. All that, but it goes beyond that for success. And I believe your authenticity as a person creates that trust. It makes it safe for people to continue conversation. And you listen and you let people know that you care. Would you like to make some comments on that?
Yeah, Tom, I think listening to you, and a few words just come to me, is real. Being real. But again, what does that mean? You have to know yourself, to be true to yourself, to be real with yourself and others. And the roots of it, I think, again, are know yourself, but to be real. And presence, mindfulness, not having to, I don't know even what to say, taking myself out of the picture and just being present with another human being, and really mean it. And I know these are just words, and this is all a journey toward authenticity. 2 things, and I'm going to go kind of, and I don't know, Tom, if I answered your question, but it's being real. But again, to be real and being true to yourself, you have to know yourself. not who we think we are, not who we were told we were in our developmental years of our childhood. So many of us we lived from that place. Well, you're just like your mom, or, you were a stubborn child, and now I'm, 60, I'm 83 and I'm still stubborn, right? Whatever the case may be. Know thyself, to me, is the key. And two things come to me. And Mark, I'm going to go back to nature for a moment.
Right.
And for your listeners, I would just like to invite everybody, especially if you live in a 4-season type of climate, and even not. I live in Wisconsin, and this time of year, the leaves are beautiful, right? They are what they are. But in a month, all the trees will be naked, right? You talk about a metaphor, about loss in life, whether it's someone we love, a woman loses her breast and breast cancer, whatever it is. If kids go off to college, our life is full of loss. And to me, that it's kind of like the leaves on the tree. The trees lose their leaves, and so they stand naked. And everybody starts complaining. Oh, look I wish it was October again. The trees were so beautiful. That's kind of a great metaphor of what we're talking about tonight. But you know what? Even in their nakedness, they're still beautiful. They're a tree. They're very rooted. And so one of my favorite questions to even ask myself, my students, who are you in the nakedness of life? When things that we think identify us, false eyelashes, nothing wrong with any of this. Lipstick, right? The clothes I wear, the car I drive, whatever it is, none of that is wrong. But what do we identify with? Is probably takes us away from our authentic self. So I would invite people, just go out and look at a naked tree in November or December and just sit there and contemplate. Who am I? When things that I'm losing and have lost, now I'm naked. As a metaphor, who am I really? Our job, our vocation, people love what you do. You're a great umpire, Mark, right? Tom, you're a great leader, right? What if the vets you talked about, Mark, VA hospital, no legs,
right?
Who are, and so anyway, that's one of my major inquiries in life, is who am I in the nakedness of my life? When everything I identify with about who I think I am is stripped from me. And I'll just say this, I'm an end-of-life doula. I practice, end-of-life touch and end-of-life doula. And people say, how do you do that, Kathy? And I always say, it's raw and real. There's nothing to fix, nothing to do, nothing to make better, no performance. It just is, just like nature. So, and the last thing I just like to say on this is kids also, I think, are a great example of authenticity. Years in my 20s, started working on myself, went to a therapist. And the first thing she suggested to me to go to a park and watch kids play. And I didn't get it at first, but I did catch on. And kids are great. You want to see something authentic? Watch kids. And sit under a naked tree. It'll teach you everything, or many things. So that's why everybody loves kids, little ones, right? 1-year-old, 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, because they're just real. They're just real. And so besides sitting under a naked tree, let your inner child come out and go play, go dance, go color, go make a leaf pile and jump in it,
Right.
you know,
Right.
and I will finish with this, and then I've got to go, as you know, Tom. I have other commitments, and I've said I'd finish with this probably 3 times now, but I promise. Now I forget what I was going to say. Oh, about business. I have always told my students, one of the many things that's very different in our profession, which is massage therapy and body work, is bringing ourself into the session room, our true self, our authentic self. But the key is to be that authentic self outside of the session room too. It's how we live our life, whether we're at work, at play, by ourselves, out to dinner with our loved one, whatever it is. Who are you as you sit there naked, as a metaphor?
You hit some really strong points there, Kath, that I just want to reestablish here. Fun. I think in business, we got to put some fun into it. I'm a big Simon Sinek person. Your why, communicating your why from your heart, what is important to you, being authentic about your purpose and your why and whatever you're doing in life and your business. And then the actions are greater than the words you say. So your actions people will hear what you say, but they're going to watch what you do. And I think that's probably the most important thing that we learn in business is understand what we say. We got to make sure that we're following up with the parallel actions with that. And that goes back to building trust in a safe place that the people will feel comfortable doing business with you. That's from my perspective, seeing what you've done in your career and your businesses, how you've grown personally and how that's transformed in building your business, building those relationships, because you're very blessed and talented in that area. Because you never have a time that, matter of fact, you're booking out into January already, or correct, Kath?
Yeah.
How does that happen? How does that happen? It's a lot goes to the action she takes after her conversations or after her sessions with her students or her clients, that her actions are parallel to what she talks about. And I think that's critical. Mark, you've probably seen this too, and it drives me crazy. Business people that don't communicate and respond to a text or an email or
call, email, yeah.
And I wonder, how they even stay in business by not having authentic communication. Say, hey, listen, I thank you for reaching out to me. I appreciate it. However, I'm not interested. I'd rather hear that than just.
Oh, absolutely.
Why did we get ghosted? If you're getting ghosted, and for those who don't know what ghosted is people just disappear on you, vanish into thin air. You start a relationship and suddenly they're no longer around. Think about what were the actions? What were you doing? Were you authentic to your why? Were you that childlike energy? I think that's a key thing, that childlike energy that we put out around what we're doing. People get emotionally attached with that as well, and they'll want to continue hearing that story or experiencing that feeling or vibration. And I think authenticity in business is critical. It isn't being totally transparent of everything that you've ever done in your life. But if somebody brings theirs up, you can be empathetic with them. And if you've got anything of value to share from your experience, your wisdom, that's the time to do it. But you don't dump your bucket out on the table. Hey, this is me. This is my life story. Love it or leave it. And here it is. It goes a little bit deeper than that. So.
Yeah, good. That's great, Tom. Mark, can I say one more thing?
You sure can.
I just thought of something too, listening to Tom and, the word authenticity. Another thing besides sitting under a autumn naked tree and go and act like a kid, is ask yourself the question, can I be with myself without distractions? In other words, can I be with myself in the stillness and solitude of life? And most people can't. Many people can't, and the question would be why? And that's for each individual to ask the question and answer that.
Yes.
Because I think it's sad.
Themselves, can they, Kathy? They can't be by themselves.
No.
They have a real problem with it.
Yes. Without music or TV or any distractions.
I'll tell you what I did last night.
Yeah.
To phone down, I got in my car. It was like an hour ride. Had nothing on, just drove. And I kind of liked it. It was like, hey, this is different. But I was like deprogramming, coming off the runner's high, and just, and I just like, by the time I got home, I was so laid back. But it was like, wow, I haven't done this in a long time. And it was, I didn't even have the radio on. It was just like, neat. And how many times would you do that on a long trip? I mean, man, that would make you think. Because I know when we used to go see Teddy in Greensboro, that's like about 4.5, 5 hours. We would have like our music genre so we could survive the trip, because it's not always fun. You leave at dark 30 or whatever, but it was just kind of cool last night to hear the quiet. I rolled my window down. I was like, man, yeah. And even when I was at the park, I was one of the last people to leave. It was at Lanier Point Park, beautiful place, Lake Lanier, and they've got an sundry of baseball fields around there. So you're on the lake, and it surrounds it. And but it was really nice. It was really full moon.
Yeah.
What you were talking about. So maybe that the critics came out at the full moon, but it's a beautiful scenic place. I mean, and Gainesville High School plays their baseball games. There's a high school field, and I didn't even know it, to my chagrin, that there were some professional ex-baseball players at the park last night. Yeah, kind of. And they're giving back to kids, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
So they get it. They understand what's going on out there with these kids. These guys were 13 last night, 13 or 14. So yeah, they're at that
big dreams, big aspirations, right?
The funky age of being a teenager, and it's tough for guys because the switch is getting ready to flip. They're no longer your little boy, and it's kind of wild to watch them.
Yeah. Well, Mark, enjoy the silence.
Yes.
Mark, enjoy the silence.
I am envious of you, because I know you journal, and I know you go away for like, I don't know if it's a week. I know Tom shared this with me, but you do. Am I right? And you just kind of get away and.
Yeah. 10 days of solitude and silence every January.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was going to make comment on that. Going back to what Kathy said earlier, is know thyself to be authentic. And Kathy's been, how many years you've been doing your personal retreat, silence
20.
and solitude?
20.
20 years.
20. Wow.
Yeah.
7 to 10 days, no TV, no radio, no nothing. And she just be still and know. That's how you get to know yourself, in that silent. All the craziness how our brains have been programmed to work. I have to admire what you do.
Yes.
With the way my mind works, I couldn't do it. So,
would you want
to get away on our anniversary for 4 days? Pretty much the same type of thing here. The end of this last month. So we did have.
That's neat.
I did enjoy those 4 days of nothing but us looking at a lake all day long from a cabin right on the water.
Yeah. I mean, yesterday. Yeah. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but real quick. No. You said about nature, that's what I was taking in. I was like, I'm so grateful to be here. Look, this is a beautiful place. I blocked out the screaming and yelling, and I was like, this really is a beautiful place,
Yeah.
what better backdrop to come. Of course, then you got to put it with the other side of things, but you know, I just think it's funny to see people get, all wound up about a game, even on a professional. It's a game, and you're talking about life, and I think we all need to get excited about our life, like people do with sports, and they go all out and wear costumes and whatever they do when they go to these games. But get fired up about your future and your family and your friends and your business, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
but there is, I don't know if some people could handle that on a Saturday around here, because I know what they do. They watch college football with the nth degree. I'm good for maybe half a game, and that's it. I can't watch. I know Tom and I talked about this morning. I just can't do it.
Mhm.
Like, well, what are you going to do? I'm going to go read, or I'm over on the left. Well, yeah, I'm right here, but I just can't sit there in front of that TV and watch another game. I can't do it.
So you're being true to yourself, Mark.
I know, and people
See,
think
that's
I'm
what you're doing. You're being true to yourself. That, yeah,
or they
that
think I'm being
pull.
rude. I'm in my house. I'm not being rude. I mean,
Mhm. No, not at all. All right, guys.
Kath, thanks for
thank
jumping
you
on here real
for
quick.
Kathy.
You're
We
welcome.
get her back, and I would
Mhm.
love to hear about your week that you do when you go on this personalized retreat. I think that would be
Mhm.
cool. What
Mhm.
you write about. I don't want to know details, but I'm sure each day is something different. A thought comes to your mind, and
Yeah. I would love to, Mark. I really
handwriting.
invite people to consider that, or even if it's 2 days away or 3 days. But solitude and silence is, to me, it's medicine.
Right.
And
I mean, I
I'll,
journal,
I'll
but I don't do it every day. You have that
Mhm.
discipline to do it.
Mhm.
I think that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. I'll leave with this. When I tell people, at times, not everybody, um, about my retreat, that I go away for 10 days and spend it in solitude and silence, what do you think their first question is to me?
No TV, or I don't know, or what do you do, or I
What do
don't know.
you do?
That's
What
it.
do you do? Yeah. Their first question. And I get it. And I get it. So I begin to teach them through answering my answer, and maybe it will invite them into a practice, even if it's 20 minutes a day. Start there,
Right. So
yeah.
like, you get up early in the morning, and I'm sure they have where you go. Do they have a cafeteria or somewhere you can eat? And then do you do that, or it's all in your room, or?
I'm not telling. No, I bring my own food in. I don't see another
Cool.
human being.
No, I've heard people do that.
Yeah, bring my own food and water, and that way I
Nice.
don't have to go anywhere or see anybody.
Right.
Except the squirrels and the deer and the turkeys.
You can feed them too, right? I mean,
I do. Yeah, what a
that's
pleasure. Do what you love, pursue your passion, huh? Yeah, through your authentic self. One of the greatest gifts you can give yourself, I
right.
believe. That
And
one
it
too.
becomes a gift for everybody that you associate with.
Yes.
And I want
Yes.
to mention this. I'm the luckiest guy in the world, because for 20 years she leaves, comes back, and I got a new woman in my life.
Oh,
So
and you know what? She leaves and leaves you alone, Tom. So what do you do? I mean, how do you survive? Kathy's gone, so.
I don't get out of my habits. So, matter of fact, I probably violate them even worse. So
He's a very independent guy, Mark. He cooks, he cleans, he does
Oh,
his
that's
laundry,
great.
so he
I
does
do.
very
I
well
do.
without me.
I do that.
Yeah, wonderful. You guys are good men.
Because the guys would like, hey, Dad, you making breakfast? You want an omelet? You want an omelet?
Yeah, I
He
love
would
that.
say, hey, can you, I'm like, yeah, I'll do it.
So when I come over, Mark, you'll cook me a good omelet.
Oh, yes. If
Perfect.
you want a veggie omelet, a cheese omelet.
Perfect.
A Greek one.
Oh, a
which-
Greek omelet. That
A
sounds
Greek omelet.
delicious. Mhm.
Yeah, that one. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, you two, take care, and I'll see you again. Huh?
Thanks for contributing. Thanks for coming on at the last minute,
You're
Kath. Much
welcome.
appreciated.
You're welcome. You're
Right.
welcome. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Kathy.
You're welcome.
So there you go, Tom. Look at that backdrop now. Man, that is an awesome backdrop.
Yeah, I've Googled the size of the image they need for this platform and backgrounds, and I'm just putting up different ones until I get the one I
I'm
like.
telling you, you're more hip than you think. And I'm telling you, if Miles Davis and Dexter Gordon were around today, because I know Miles used to paint, he'd probably go, man, I'm seeing a lot of creativity in this thing. He'd see pictures and all, he'd be telling you all sorts of stuff. I kiddingly have those guys up there because they are authentic. I know a lot of people maybe misunderstood them, but you want to talk about authenticity, those guys, and that's what I kind of like about them. They did their own thing and they did it their way. They weren't rude to people, but you weren't going to push them around. I think that's another thing. Maybe I'm wrong about that, Tom, but when I looked at my dad or anybody that's older than me, I look at where they're at, what they've done, and they, like Kathy was sharing with us, they figured out their own process and what works for them, and it just kind of resonates, man. And people are like gravitated, like, hey, that Tom Ginn, he's got it going on. He's doing some cool stuff. I need to talk to him about some things. Yesterday, I didn't know this. I had an 18-year-old that I had a mentor umpiring. It finally happened. And, he was 18 and we had a common ground to talk, but, some of the things that he's into and I'm into are totally different, but it was really neat.
Cool.
And he did a great job. And I said, you be you back there and I'll take care of the rest. I'll lead interference. Don't worry about what people say. I said, because you can't, you got a 50-50 chance of being right. So just accept it. And, not everybody's going to give you a warm fuzzy out here today, but he did a great job. I was really proud of him because Landon, if you are listening, I don't know if he would be, but he did a tremendous job. And for 18 years old, it's very commendable that he stepped up. And to do something like that at that age, I tip my hat, because I don't think I would. And I'm sure you probably wouldn't either, because I ask people every day, would you like to do this? They're like, heck no, I don't want to do that. But that's why there's a shortage of in the sporting arena, and it's hard enough to get them and then to get good people,
Yeah. So the buzzword being authentic, we hear it all the time in presentations and
Right.
talks about self-improvement and
Yes.
all those things. But like I think Kathy says, we got to know ourselves first.
Yes. Absolutely.
Then we determine what pages we open in our book.
Right.
And but I think it also goes back to being authentic, to be in relationship with somebody where you're building a business relationship, whatever it may be, is really going to, do you see me? Do you hear me? And do you care? The spotlight goes on them, not you, and it allows you to interject as you need. And I think that's what I love about Larry's book.
Larry's book. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an excellent book. We want to make sure Larry,
man, because I sent this to him. So here you go, Larry. There's two guys holding up your book, and yeah, I've read it more than once, and it's a really good book. And he asked you in there about authenticity and asking yourself those questions. if you go on his website, he's got some criteria on there that you can really delve into it and find out, what you're all about. And I think that's what I try and do each day when I'm on the phone is how do I want to show up and to create that image of, yes, I do hear you. Yes, even though I'm on the phone, I do see you in a sense. I feel your vibes, and yes, I do care about you. And I think it all comes down to your tone, your pitch, your cadence, and that's easier said than done some days, because we're not all perfect, and because I had a call where I didn't handle it right, and the minute I hung up, I said, "Doggone it!" But they said, "Hey, that's good, man. You know what you did wrong, and next time it won't happen." But that's how you learn. You got to fail. You jump in and you do it and fail, but you learn from it.
This just came to me, and it's sort of a sports metaphor. I've heard this in different contexts. Is golf is a true test of who you are and your ethics. Are you playing by the rules? Do you fudge the ball over with your club, or do you pick it up and do a mulligan, or whatever the case may be? What are you doing when no one else is around watching you? Authenticity. You're going to play the game because your integrity is on the line.
Right.
And so being authentic is your actions speak louder than your words. And I think that's where authenticity comes in. Is there's too much buzzwords trying to mold yourself after what that looks like, feels like, or other case. That person demonstrates good authenticity. But just be yourself. Don't worry about what other people think. You don't dump your bucket on everything you've ever done in your life. There's some things I'm pretty shameful about. I wouldn't want to disclose in public.
I'm not going to tell you everything, man.
But,
and you don't have to tell me everything, because we all have our faults.
Yeah,
you
all made mistakes or wrong choices, bad influences, or whatever the case may be in life, and I'd only bring them up if there was going to be a learning situation for somebody. I've been down that path.
Yeah.
This is what I experienced. This is the type of outcome you might expect. So be prepared.
Right.
That's the only time I would share that and it's relevant in that communication. So, but you just don't dump your bucket out to be authentic. And transparency. That's another buzzword, is that being transparent. You don't need to be transparent on everything. You don't need to know every minute of your life to be on the table. So
Tom,
I think what you said, being your energy, having some fun, people sense your why, your purpose, and you're listening to them.
Right.
You're being authentic.
You brought up a point about authenticity and being authentic, and I'm going to share a story. We heard it when we had Ben Gay on. He talked about Bobby Jones, who he got to know. Of course, when Bobby, he as he got older, I know he was on crutches and so forth, but Ben talked about the story where he inadvertently tapped the ball with his club face, and he counted that as a stroke. And they said no one was around but Bobby Jones.
It cost him the tournament, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. And they could not believe. He said, no, that wasn't a 3. It should be a 4, and or whatever it was, 2 or 3. It's insignificant there, but the fact that he had the integrity, and I think that goes hand in hand with being authentic. You've got to have a certain amount of integrity, because people are going to see through a phony person, and
keep in mind, your actions are stronger than anything else. Make sure your action matches up with what you say and what you demonstrate. It's like a child. A child learns from what they see, not what they hear. So sort of the same principle here. So just practice, find that quiet time, get to know yourself, like Kathy shared.
right.
And that takes some work. Trying to sit for 7 to 10 days, watch the sun come up and watch it go down in the middle of winter. Where she goes is beautiful. It's called the Pristinia. It's an octagon shaped glass building with a living room, a bedroom, a kitchen, and a bath. And it looks out over a lake here just down the road from us. So it's a very beautiful setting. So it has an opportunity to just blend in with nature, which she loves to do. So,
Right.
like I said, I'm a lucky guy. She comes back a different person than when she left. So I've had 20 different ladies in my life.
Yeah. And I'm sure Kathy keeps you honest too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, she holds me to a pretty high standard in things. So
That's neat.
most of my success comes from her example. So I can't take any credit there. She's a great mentor, great leader. She demonstrates, she walks her talk in everything she does. And that's authenticity. That makes her transparent. There's no guessing where she's coming from or where she's going with you. There's never any guessing.
Well, Tom, I'm glad we talked about this evening. It was good talk.
Yeah, just off the cuff, and I thought Kathy would be a great one to bring in because she's a great example for what she does around authenticity. It's helped her. It's built her business. I mean, she's very successful, and she doesn't have to work hard to get referrals. People call her and say, "How'd you hear about so and so?" Because she's created that trust in a safe place by being authentic. There's no dancing around the bush, I would say, here with her.
Absolutely.
So, anything else before we close it out? You dancing tonight, my friend? A little two-stepping?
It's the last session of our favorite dance, the two-step. So that's country, and I always tease my wife. That's her favorite one. All kidding aside, although I will share a tidbit here, and I got to pull this up. Yes, this is a shout out to my son. They had an incredible homecoming. He's at Midwestern State University, Wichita Falls, Texas. It's a D2 program. He's one of the grad assistants there. They played Western New Mexico. And it was 56-7. They beat them. And he actually got complimented because he's working with the running backs, and he's got some, I think 2 of the guys are pretty primo in the conference. So good for him. And I hope that the Mustangs, that's what they're called, that they keep winning. You know, there's a couple more games down the road. I don't think they're going to make the conference playoffs, but hey, just keep winning, keep doing your thing, and get better.
Yeah. Well, congratulations to him. You're a proud papa. That's quite evident, and thanks for sharing that. So
it's kind of neat to watch him become his own person now. I can see things when we saw him because he's been there since the summer, so I see the changes. He's growing up.
Yeah. Great story, Mark. Great story. So with that all said, we'll wrap this up. I'll close it down with a quick little video, and we'll be done for tonight. Do we have a guest next week? We're still working on that.
I'm hoping that our friend and neighbor Jay Jensen, the South Dakota Flash, will reappear himself. We see his post out there on LinkedIn, but no, I'd really like to get him on. And he said, I shared a couple of his DMs. He said, I've been thinking about you guys and you beat me to it. But, I asked him, hey, are you available tonight? Because we've been talking about this. So I'll stay with him and say, hey, put Monday on the calendar and come join us. I always like to hear his wisdom and his tales in the sales arena. It's always good times.
Yeah. Well, my friend, we just want to thank everybody. We're grateful that you were here today. Tag and share this out. You never know what Kathy may have said or Mark said or what I said may impact somebody to look at things differently, to change the course of their business by being more authentic. And don't hesitate to reach out to Mark or I to find out more about this Be Connected platform. I'm glad to get you hooked up on it. And if you'd like to be a guest, DM Mark or myself,
Sure.
so we can have a conversation to be a guest on Elevate Your Profits.
Yeah.
Is that
Love
good?
that. Thank you, Tom.
All right. We'll close out with this video and we are done, my friend. God bless everybody. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Halloween. See, I'm already jumping ahead here. That's how my brain works.
Tomorrow night, it's going to happen here. All the kids will be banging on our doors wanting candy for
Well,
Halloween.
we're supposed to get snow tomorrow, so who knows what that's going to look like here in Wisconsin. 2 weeks ago it was 80 degrees. Now we're getting a snowstorm. So that's Wisconsin. You got to love it. So here we go, my friend.